Throughout its roughly 140-year history, the United States Open has undoubtedly been the scene of events that have been deemed contentious. The athletes themselves have been the focal point of a significant number of scandals, with the reactions of the spectators frequently raising things to an even higher level. A variety of topics, ranging from the selection of attire to the use of trash talking to bizarrely a banana, have been the subject of debate. There are some of these flame-fueled moments that have left little lasting impression, but there are others that have come to define the careers of stars or generate wider discussions about inequality within the sport. Number 8. In the 2018 women's final, Serena Williams is unable to score a point in the match. Naomi Osaka defeated Serena Williams in the women's final of the 2018 Australian Open. Although the post-match headlines focused more on the controversy surrounding the match than they did on Osaka's significant victory. The 3 code breaches that Williams committed resulted in a fine of $17,000 being handed down to her. These infractions included coaching, breaking her racket, and verbal abuse of chair umpire Carlos Ramos. The athlete, who is wearing a Nike and Off-White collaboration, referred to the penalties as sexist, which sparked a discussion about inequity within her sport on a global scale. In an article that she wrote for Harper's Bazaar in July, she addressed the topic by stating that the event exemplified how thousands of women in every area of the workforce are treated every day, and that she won't ever stop raising my voice against injustice. Following the conclusion of the women's final match at the U.S. Open Tennis Championships on September 8th, Serena Williams expresses her reaction to the umpire, Carlos Ramos, number 7. While competing in the first round of the 2018 tournament, Alize Cornet changed her shirt. At the 2018 tournament, discussions about sexism were already taking place before the controversy surrounding Serena Williams' final match. Alize Cornet, a French athlete, was penalized for a code breach after she momentarily removed her shirt while competing in the first round of competition. Because she had inadvertently put on her Lacoste top in the wrong direction, Cornet had to remove it during the heat-mandated stop. Fans and players alike were quick to protest the infringement, pointing out that it is permissible for men to change their shirts during the game. After everything was said and done, the officials of the event extended their apologies to Cornet and made it clear that all players are permitted to change in their chairs or off the court. Number 6. During the year 2002, Serena Williams was seen on the court wearing a catsuit. On the court, Serena Williams is known for her impeccable sense of style, and one of the most emblematic outfits from her early career occurred at the United States Open in the year 2002. Puma then sponsored her, and she wore a black catsuit from the brand when she was competing on the court. The ensemble, which the star had shown to tournament organizers for pre-approval, was the subject of post-match press conferences, which were concentrated around the ensemble. Many people ridiculed the outfit as being unacceptable for play. At the end of the day, it is evident that Williams' attire did not have any effect on her performance on the court, as she ended up winning the women's singles championship. Several years later, Williams would once again find herself in the news for her catsuit-related activities. After experiencing issues with her pregnancy, the 23-time Grand Slam champion wore a superhero-like Nike catsuit at the 2018 French Open to regulate her temperature. As a result of the French Tennis Federation's decision to tighten regulations, her attire was prohibited after the competition, which infuriated users of social media platforms. Williams responded to all of the debate by stating that the Grand Slams have a right to do what they want to do. Williams dismissed all of the commentary. The 5th spot goes to Novak Djokovic and Andy Roddick, fight at the Open in 2008. Because Andy Roddick, who is now retired, and Novak Djokovic are two of the most prominent names in the sport, the level of suspense around their matchup in 2008 was quite high. As a result of Djokovic's victory, it seemed that the atmosphere in the locker room became increasingly heated. Roddick became irritated when the younger player chirped at him after the victory, which resulted in a little incident within the locker room. Number 4. In the match that took place in 1979 against John McEnroe, Alize Nastase pretended to be sleeping. Alize Nastase, who was competing against John McEnroe of the United States in the second round, faked to sleep on the baseline to express his displeasure with what he saw to be McEnroe's tendency to stall between points. As a consequence of his antics, Nastase was given a 1-point penalty, and the Empire eventually defaulted on him, which resulted in turmoil on the court for everyone involved. After around 20 minutes of chaos, Nastase was readmitted to the court, play began, and McEnroe emerged victorious in 4 sets. As the two men went out to eat together that evening, it appeared as though they did not retain any lingering anger toward one another. Number 3. As of 1975, Martina Navratilova has defected to the United States. It is not always the courtroom that gives birth to controversy. During the 1970s, when tensions between the United States and the Soviet Union were at an all-time high, Martina Navratilova decided to desert to the United States of America while she was competing in the Open. The individual, who was 18 years old at the time, entered the building housing the Immigration and Naturalization Service in New York to defect. Even though Navratilova, who was born in the Czech Republic, is widely regarded as one of the greatest women's tennis players of all time, she initially made her name known as a child by fleeing the Soviet Union. Number 2. The women's singles finals of the 1995 United States Open were not particularly controversial in and of themselves. Nevertheless, the victory that Steffi Graf achieved over Monica Seles by a score of 7-6, 0-6, and 6-4 was colored with controversy in almost every aspect of the match. Not only was it the first time that Seles and Graf had met on a tennis court, since a frenzied Graf fan had stabbed Seles during a match in Hamburg, Germany in April of 1993, but it was also the first time that they had ever met. Because of the injury, Seles was unable to participate in the tour for more than 2 years, and as a result, she was never able to achieve the same level of success as she had before the tragedy. Since the stabbing, Seles competed in the United States Open in 1995, which was his second competition and his first Grand Slam event. In the meantime, the German press had been relentlessly pursuing Graf during the entirety of the tournament. This was because her father and manager, Peter Graf, was incarcerated in Germany for allegedly failing to pay taxes on $1.5 million of his daughter's profits, as stated in an article by Sports Illustrated. Graf and Seles overcame the challenges that they faced on that particular day. Number 1. Back in 1975, Raskind underwent a sex change procedure and assumed the identity of Renee Richards. According to a report published in the New York Times, in 1976, when she was accepted into a women's tournament in New Jersey, 25 female players participated in the competition, but later withdrew out of protest. According to a story that was published in the New York Times in 2004, she was not allowed to participate in the women's draw of the United States Open in 1976 because she refused to undergo a chromosomal test to determine her gender. After Richards, then 43 years old, filed a legal challenge against the United States Tennis Association, the New York Supreme Court issued a ruling in her favor 2 weeks before the 1977 U.S. Open. As a result, the U.S. Open was compelled to permit her to compete in the women's draw. The ruling was a watershed moment for transgender rights, but it was met with significant criticism from many who believed that she would have an unfair edge in terms of her physical appearance. However, Richards did make it to the finals of the women's doubles competition that year. In the championship match, she and her partner Betty Ann Stewart were defeated by Martina Navratilova and Betty Stove by scores of 6-1 and 7-6. At the time, Richards was ranked number 20 in the women's competition, which was her highest rating ever. This concludes the video for the day. Have you enjoyed it? Please leave your insightful response in the section below labeled comments, And remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel for additional informative and engaging videos.